Y'all ever seen someone stay loyal to a man who couldn't even stay loyal to a phone plan? Because Yandy Smith just did the unthinkable. After nearly a decade of playing ride-or-die Barbie for Mendeecees Harris, Sis finally said, "I'm out." Yep, the woman who built an entire brand around being the definition of loyalty just gave us the plot twist of the year. And we're not talking about a cute little argument or some mild shade. Oh no. This breakup is giving betrayal, ego, and a slow-cooked public humiliation with a side of receipts. So how does a relationship that survived prison, reality TV mess, and a public image built on black love goals suddenly collapse like a dollar store wig in a thunderstorm? Was it the years of disrespect? The emotional detachment? The "I don't know if I'd wait for you" interview that had Black Twitter throwing virtual tomatoes? Or was this man really just using Yandy for clout, while she was out here saving his reputation like it was a full-time job? Buckle up. Because what you thought you knew about this so-called power couple, yeah, we're about to set it on fire. Let's rewind this love story, because what started off as black love goals turned out to be black love gaslighting. And baby, the receipts are steaming. Once upon a time, in the sparkly chaos of VH1's love and hip-hop, we were served a love story that looked like it belonged in a Tyler Perry finale, minus the wigs. Yandy Smith, the smart, polished, business-savvy woman. Mendeecees Harris, the streetwise, reformed ex-hustler turned family man. Cameras, confessionals,
Vows. Tears.
prison sentences. Oh yes, this fairy tale had federal charges. Back in 2015, right after a lavish, televised wedding, Mendeecees was sentenced to 8 years in prison for drug trafficking. And what did Yandy do? Did she dip out, cry in the Rolls-Royce, and vanish? Nope. Sis doubled down on loyalty like it was a brand deal. She became the poster child for ride-or-die culture, showing up to visitations in full glam, raising kids solo, protesting prison conditions, doing reality shows, and running her businesses like nothing could break her. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was doing time, and Yandy was doing the emotional labor of 10 women with zero toe. But that's where the cracks started to show. Because while Yandy was out here spinning PR gold and babysitting his reputation like a toddler with sticky fingers, folks in the industry started whispering, "You know how it goes, girl." He'd be calling other women from jail. He was seen talking slick about her. This marriage might be for TV. But Yandy never folded. She kept it classy, kept it tight, until the infamous 2021 interview. Picture this. Mendeecees, freshly out of prison, is sitting on a panel, all suited up, doing the "I've grown" routine. And someone asks him point blank, if Yandy had gone to prison, would you have waited for her? His response, "I don't know what I would have done." Excuse me? After 5 years of this woman holding you down like Gorilla Glue, after she protected your name harder than an NDA, you don't know? That moment cracked the internet in half. Twitter went full CSI. TikTok stitched that clip into oblivion. And for a lot of fans, that was the day the black love fairy tale died. Because what kind of man watches a woman give up everything for him and just shrugs? But here's where it gets real spicy. Because this wasn't just some awkward slip. This was a window into something much uglier, a pattern of emotional detachment, selfishness, and flat-out disregard that had apparently been going on for years. And once fans went back to old episodes, old interviews, old Instagram posts, they started seeing what had always been there. Mendeecees wasn't all in. He never was. Even while in prison, the man was allegedly flirting with other women, throwing shade behind the scenes, and letting Yandy do all the heavy lifting, emotionally, financially, publicly. She was the wife, the manager, the image consultant, the babysitter, and the spiritual advisor rolled into one, while he just had to sit and occasionally act like he cared. One source close to the couple told us, on condition of anonymity, because this tea is scalding, Yandy was more in love with the image of holding it down than with what was actually happening. And Mendeecees knew that. He played into it, because it kept his name clean. And you know what? It worked. For a long time, fans wanted to believe in them. We needed to. We wanted to see a strong black couple survive the system. We needed that storyline. But as always, the truth doesn't care about your narrative. Your favorite ship, Fast forward to post-prison Mendeecees, and what do we get? An image revamp, a growth journey, speaking gigs, Instagram captions about discipline and elevation. But what we didn't get was gratitude. Not once did this man sit down and publicly say, "Yandy, thank you. You didn't have to do what you did, but you did it anyway." Instead, he gave us vibes of detachment, side eyes, reality show confessionals, and lukewarm platitudes like, "We working on us."
Nah.
"She was working. You were coasting." And let's talk about marriage boot camp, because, oh honey, if there was ever a moment where the facade shattered like a cheap mirror, it was that. During one of the episodes, Yandy finally spoke up. Calmly,
Classy.
but with that pain-soaked voice only real ones can recognize. She admitted she felt unprotected, unloved, and alone in the relationship. The same woman who protested for you, fed your kids, cried in private while defending you in public, was now standing there, wondering if you even liked her. Then came the moment, the one that hit like a slap with a velvet glove. The therapist asked Mendeecees if he had ever been unfaithful. He looked down, shifted, and said, "Yeah, I've done some things I'm not proud of." Boom. Mic drop. TV silence. And every loyal Black woman watching that episode broke just a little inside. Because in that one sentence, everything made sense. The weird body language, the distant energy, the lack of praise, the refusal to claim Yandy the same way she claimed him. It wasn't confusion. It was conviction. He had never been all in. He had been along for the ride. And baby, Yandy was driving that bus solo. But it didn't stop there. Because as soon as that episode aired, the floodgates opened. Anonymous blog pages started leaking DMs, alleged screenshots of Mendeecees talking to other women, sources claiming he was seen in Atlanta with someone who wasn't Yandy, business partners saying he was cutting deals without her. Now, granted, some of this might be smoke, but when the air's this thick, yeah, there's usually fire behind it. And what did Yandy do? The same thing she always does. She stayed silent. She stayed classy. She stayed loyal. But even that silence started sounding like a scream. Her posts got more cryptic. Her captions read like diary entries. She stopped tagging him. She started showing up alone. And fans? They noticed. Comments like, "Yandy, blink twice if you're done. Where's your crown, sis? You held him down so long he forgot how to stand up for you." And maybe the most heartbreaking part of all this? Yandy never wanted to expose him. She never aired out the real tea. She still won't. Because somewhere deep down, she believed in him, believed in the image, believed in the possibility that if she just held on a little longer, it would all make sense. But what do you do when the fairy tale turns into a hostage situation? When loyalty becomes a cage? When the man you built your empire around turns out to be your biggest liability? That's where this story really begins to burn. Because just when fans thought they'd seen the worst, just when it looked like Yandy was either going to forgive him again or suffer in silence forever, a revelation came out that flipped the entire love and hip-hop narrative upside down. And trust me, what you're about to hear next, it'll make you question if this marriage was ever real to begin with. But baby, if you thought that was the climax, you better sit tight, because the tea is just starting to steep. Let's talk about what really started raising eyebrows and flipping wigs in the streets and on the timeline. Because chilly after Yandy started making moves that looked more like get back than get right, fans started doing their own investigations. And what they found? Few do's.
Boom.
Let's dive into the madness. Yandy didn't just wake up one day and say, "I'm done with Mendeecees." Nah. She played the game like a strategist on House of Cards with a LHH-sized shaker of drama. Behind the scenes, she had already stopped wearing her ring months before the rumors hit. Subtle shade on Instagram, white heavy checkmark check. Cryptic captions, white heavy checkmark double check. But you know what really sent the internet into DEFCON 1 when Yandy allegedly bought a new townhouse in ATL and Mendeecees' name was nowhere on the paperwork? Excuse me? An anonymous source close to Yandy's team said she made that purchase quietly like a whisper in church during offering time. And not just any property. This was a whole luxury corner lot with a walk-in closet the size of a corner store. Folks started speculating, was this her soft launch into single life? Was she stacking assets to make sure she wouldn't end up like those other reality TV wives, caught in that married but broke limbo? Let's not forget, Yandy has always been the brains of the operation. Even when Mendeecees was locked up, she kept the empire moving, from skincare lines to philanthropy to her endless PR-savvy posts that somehow made even beef look brandyable.
Sis been working overtime.
So it's no surprise she had an exit strategy sharper than the cut crease on a beauty influencer. But get this, Mendeecees? He was apparently the last to know. One of his day ones spilled the beans that Yandy never officially told him she was done.
Nope.
She just started moving different. Missed calls. Late replies. No more FaceTimes with the kids when he was out of town. And when Mendeecees tried to confront her, chilly, she hit him with a legendary, "I just need some space." You know that space line? That's the kiss of death in any situationship. That's reality TV code for, you about to find out on the blogs what I didn't have the heart to tell you in person. And oh, he did. Fast forward to the reunion taping, the energy was icy. Cold enough to freeze Mona Scott's wig glue. Cast members were whispering behind the scenes. Producers tried to position Yandy and Mendeecees for a friendly couple shot. Nope. Sis declined. Said she wasn't in the mood. Then Mendeecees, visibly confused, was caught asking someone off camera, "Yo, is she serious right now?" One of the stylists backstage allegedly overheard him say, "She acting like I'm her side dude that overstayed his welcome. I'm her husband." But the producers? Oh, they were eating it up. Cameras zoomed in. Lighting crew turned up the saturation. And social media got their fingers ready. Hashtag Yandy Unfollowed trended within minutes of the reunion airing. Fans swore she was prepping a bombshell announcement, and they weren't wrong. Because just a week later, Yandy did a now-deleted sit-down interview on an empowerment podcast where she dropped nothing short of a verbal Molotov cocktail on the entire marriage. She didn't say names. But honey, you don't need to say names when you say things like, "Sometimes you build with people for years and then realize they were only there for the blueprint, not the house."
Damn.
Twitter spiraled. TikTokers dropped 3-part series breaking down what she meant by blueprint. YouTubers did 45-minute essays titled, "Did Mendeecees just get mentally evicted?" But let's not act brand new. This ain't just about shade and property. Allegedly, there's also money involved. Let's talk about the funds. Insiders claimed Mendeecees started getting real comfortable dipping into joint business accounts like they were his personal piggy bank, travel expenses, luxury sneakers, spa days, yes, spa days, and even a rumored investment into a failed hookah lounge in Miami. Yandy noticed. And while she didn't say anything publicly, that accounting folder in her notes app, explosive. Now here's where it gets even wilder. A leaked voice memo. Yes, a voice memo surfaced last week, where a woman claiming to be Yandy's cousin said, "Girl, he thought he was slick. Booking massages at M, and claiming they were business meetings."
Nah.
Yandy pulled the receipts. Even got the therapist on video saying he came alone. Alone, y'all. Not with a manager. Not with a business partner. Alone. And it wasn't no sports massage. It was one of those mood-lit, essential oil R&B slow jam touch you like I mean it massage joints. So when you add that on top of the cash withdrawals, the inconsistent parenting, the late-night club appearances, and the IG models mysteriously liking all his pics at 2:30 a.m., you can't blame Yandy for packing her emotional bags and saying, "Peace out, playa." But even with all that, fans were still split. Some said she should have held it down. Others said she waited too long. But the real ones? The real ones applauded her like a standing ovation at the end of a Beyoncé tour. Because Yandy didn't just walk away. She walked up, leveled up, secured her bag, and most importantly, she did it without a single mugshot, Twitter rant, or drink thrown on national TV. We have to stan. But before we start handing out trophies, we gotta talk about Mendeecees' next move. Because chilly, he did not take this lying down. According to sources close to him, Mendeecees is working on his own tell-all digital series.
Yep.
A whole YouTube rollout featuring his side of the story, behind-the-scenes footage, and even a diss track called Red Flags and Receipts. Yes. He's rapping now. He's allegedly teaming up with Lil Scrappy to executive produce it. Baby, if that doesn't scream midlife crisis with a MacBook Pro, I don't know what does. But it gets better. There are whispers that Mona Scott herself is scrambling to lock them both into separate spin-off deals before this whole thing turns into a media circus. Because say what you want about reality TV, it might be messy, but it's money. And this breakup? Oh, it's about to bring in ratings higher than Rashida and Kirk's baby mama from the strip club arc. And on that note, as Yandy quietly files papers and Mendeecees assembles a production crew, fans are left with more questions than answers. Will this breakup be final? Or is this just season 1 of a multi-season saga? Because in the world of love and hip-hop, no goodbye is ever final. It's just a commercial break before the next scandal. But just when you thought the rabbit hole couldn't get any deeper, boom, it caves in. Because what came next didn't just shock fans, it cracked the very foundation of their so-called empire. Let's talk fallout, consequences, and the absolute firestorm now surrounding Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris. After the viral footage of Yandy slamming that door and walking away aired, social media turned into a digital battlefield. Hashtag Yandy deserves better trended faster than you could say Mendeecees ain't loyal. Fans weren't just reacting, they were demanding action. Blogs exploded. YouTubers dropped back-to-back reaction videos. Even Gossip Annies on Facebook Live had opinions hotter than fish grease. And while Yandy stayed silent, posting cryptic quotes and booked-in busy pics on Instagram, Mendeecees decided it was the perfect time to go on a podcast tour.
Yeah.
Man thought he could spin this breakup into a redemption arc, sitting in studios with red lights and cheap mics, trying to explain his side, talking about how marriage is hard and how Yandy changed after the fame. Baby, please. But the streets weren't buying it. In fact, it only made things worse. Because one blogger, known only as Sip with Sasha, claimed she received leaked emails showing Mendeecees was allegedly planning a quiet separation strategy months before the split went public. And the receipts? Oh, they were messy. Forwarded emails, allegedly from a burner account, talking about protecting assets, media distractions, coordinating with a PR girl from Atlanta to help spin the narrative. And if you thought that was bad,
Child.
that's when the real bomb dropped. Anonymous sources, supposedly former business partners of Mendeecees, came forward with claims that his real estate hustle wasn't just about flipping houses. It was about flipping identities.
Yes.
Allegedly, paperwork was reportedly filed under shady LLCs, with Yandy's name knowingly attached to several properties. A trail of unpaid taxes, backdoor deals, and mismanaged funds suddenly began to surface. Now here's the kicker. One of those properties was allegedly tied to a company registered in the Virgin Islands, linked back to someone calling themselves Melvin DH.
You tell me who that sounds like.
According to a fake document leaked on TikTok, Yandy may have unknowingly been listed as a silent partner in a multi-million-dollar development scheme. The document was watermarked and redacted to filth, but that didn't stop internet detectives from going full CSI. Twitter threads exploded. TikTokers dropped 3-minute exposés. Side-by-side comparisons were posted using fonts, stamps, and even commas to prove their point. And the internet's consensus? Yandy didn't just walk away because of cheating. She ran to save herself from an avalanche of legal chaos. But wait, we're not done. Because the feds, oh honey, they were watching. Reports, unconfirmed, of course, say that a quiet federal probe had been simmering ever since Mendeecees came home from prison. Certain activities raised red flags. A whistleblower from the parole board, who called into a late-night IG Live anonymously with a ski mask on, claimed that Mendeecees violated the terms of his release by engaging in business practices not approved by the court. And if that turns out to be true,
Boom.
he could be looking at another bid. Meanwhile, Yandy was seen consulting with lawyers in downtown Manhattan. Paparazzi tried to catch her slipping, but sis stayed 10 toes down. No makeup, no captions, no smiles, just straight-up power walk energy. The same walk women do when they know they're about to burn everything down and rebuild from scratch. And here's where it gets even more cinematic. In an interview with a parody show called Tea and Trauma, an insider claimed that Yandy is already in talks to launch her own docuseries. The working title? Unshackled. The real Yandy story, let that marinate. Not only is she allegedly walking away from Mendeecees, but sis is flipping the script and cashing the check. Word is, she's planning to expose everything. The early struggles, the lies, the legal mess, the love, the loss, and the cast? Oh, it's juicy. Producers are reportedly eyeing Kimbella, Erica Mena, and even a cameo from Remy Ma to help narrate the emotional roller coaster. But fans are divided. Some are saying, yes, queen, get your coin and your closure. Others are side-eyeing her, calling it a publicity stunt, accusing her of playing victim to boost her brand. And in the midst of it all, the kids. Yep. Let's not forget the babies. Insiders claim custody. Discussions are already underway. Behind closed doors, Yandy is allegedly pushing for full legal custody, trying to shield the kids from negative influences and unstable business dealings. Meanwhile, Mendeecees is reportedly trying to prove he's the more present parent. It's a mess. A full-blown soap opera with real estate fraud, betrayal, burner emails, federal surveillance, and fake podcast apologies, and honey, we haven't even scratched the surface. Because while the world's watching this public unraveling, some folks believe there's still one more twist coming. Some say Yandy isn't done burning bridges, that she might just drag the love and hip-hop producers into the mud too. Accusations are flying, manipulating the narrative, scripting fake scenes, forcing emotional trauma for views. Word is, she's ready to name names. And if that happens, we might be looking at the downfall of an entire VH1 empire. So buckle up, because the ride ain't over. And if Yandy Smith is about to truly unleash, baby, this breakup might just be the beginning of her revenge era.
Phew.
Y'all, take a moment.
Breathe.
Because what we just witnessed wasn't just a breakup. It was a straight-up demolition of the Black love goals narrative that Yandy Smith and Mendeecees sold to millions. From Ride or Die to I'm Out of Here, this saga had it all. Betrayal, control, shady power, moves, secret phone trackers, and a whole lot of tears dressed in Dior. But now it's your turn to weigh in. Backhand index pointing right, medium skin tone. Do you believe Yandy was just putting up with Mendeecees for the brand, for the fame, for the illusion? Backhand index pointing right, medium skin tone. Or did she genuinely love that man, only to finally realize she was loving him more than herself? And let's talk about Mendeecees. Backhand index pointing right, medium skin tone. Is he really the manipulative, selfish partner people are now saying he is? Backhand index pointing right, medium skin tone. Or was this all a long con by Yandy, the businesswoman who always knew how to spin the camera her way? We gave y'all the tea, the receipts, the secrets, and the truths that BET don't want aired out. Now we want to hear from you. Speech balloon, drop your wildest theories in the comments. Red Heart, was it real love or a reality show illusion? Crown, should Yandy finally get her own spin-off? Unbothered and Unchained? Fire, and do you think Mendeecees will clap back or just fade into love and hip-hop history? White heavy checkmark, don't forget to smash that like button if you're still shook. White heavy checkmark, hit subscribe if you're here for the drama. White heavy checkmark, turn on notifications so you never miss a messy expose like this one. Because baby, this ain't love and hip-hop. This is lies and karma. Reality hits back. Stay woke. Stay messy. And as always,
Keep sipping that tea.